Welcome to Local Control, Scenario 5, Converging and Diverging Runways. So in this scenario, I'm going to give you basically what the situation is, and then I want to hear how you guys, if you guys would do this, or how you guys would do this, and then also some caveats. So first of all, you have the T-38 final lake bed runway 30 left, you have an F-16 in the overhead, and then you have a C-12 on final for runway 23 right. So first think, is this even legal? Am I allowed to do this? All right, now I want to know what you're going to tell everybody. Hopefully you told people about this sooner. However, if you're in the situation right now, what would you say to these aircraft? Is there anything to say? I'm curious what you would say about that. So first think about how you're going to do that. Okay, now this is what I would say. I would first probably talk to probably the T-38 and say Cobra 38, traffic F-16 at initial, and C-12 5-mile final runway 23 right, lakebed runway 30 left, wind calm, clear to land. I'm then next going to talk to the next aircraft that's going to be a factor for, and I'm going to say Zoom 1, traffic T-38, final lakebed runway 30 left, break your discretion. And now I'm going to say break your discretion. I know a lot of people say break approach in all the time. It's because unless I need him to break over the approach in, I'm going to tell him break his discretion. That's a technique because maybe he's not ready at approach in. He might be training somebody in there. They might be trying to do a certain thing. If I don't need him, if I don't have to have him break at approach in, I'm not going to tell him break approach in. Then I'm going to go to the C-12 and I'm going to say Cobra 1-2, traffic T-38, final lakebed runway 30 left, runway 30 right, wind calm, cleared to land. Now, I'm going to make this a little bit more complicated. This is just what I would say and how I would say it. What if the T-38 goes around? What if it says tower, Cobra 38 going around? What are you going to say? Do you need to say anything at all? So I'm curious what you have to think about that. So if you want to pause and think about how you would say it, what you would do, go ahead and do that now. And then unpause it when you're ready to hear my answer. If this were to happen and he says Cobra 38 going around, I'm going to immediately say Cobra 38, roger, maintain at or below 3,300 until over lakebed runway 30 left, and then I'm going to give them an instruction about how to come in the pattern. I'm probably going to say then make north reentry, report base over the TACAN. The reason I'm giving that restriction is because our initial overhead pattern is at 3,800, so I'm providing that 500-foot pattern separation, and then I'll have to worry about issuing traffic until he sees them. You could just say Cobra 38 roger, traffic F-16, mid lakebed initial, or heading to your right initial, but then you're not giving him any kind of instructions. If he doesn't have the aircraft in sight and gets in close proximity, you're going to have to go back and forth between the two aircraft issuing traffic. You might run into a situation where one aircraft does not feel comfortable, say the F-16, and then he breaks himself out to the north. So there could be a lot of factors involved with that. Now I'm going to further complicate the scenario. I'm going to take the T-38 and make him a heavy C-17. Now, what do you have to think about here? What do you have to consider? Can we do this? Can we not do this? I'm curious, based on your previous task, what you have to think about this. So go ahead and pause it, have a think about what you would do, or if you could do this, and then unpause it when you're ready to hear my answer. So I'm going to say that you probably can't do this. So you have a heavy C-17 on final for 30 left, and then you have the C-12 on final for lakebed runway 23 right. The problem is that C-12 is going to be flying through the heavy C-17's wake turbulence. And if you didn't previously issue traffic or allow him to have time to adjust, he might be really uncomfortable, especially that low to the ground, to flying through that wake turbulence in really an unknown way. So in that case, I'd probably give the C-12 make right 360 and report 5-mile base, or report base that being the TACAN, traffic heavy C-17 on final lakebed runway 30 left. You really don't want him to, and he probably doesn't want to take that risk of flying through that wake turbulence so low to the ground on final, especially at a crosswind. Flying crosswind to him, the wake turbulence is then going to be going out from the sides, and we'll get more into that when we get into wake turbulence, but it's going to be going away from the aircraft off its left and right wing, which is going to be down final, so he could be encountering that wake turbulence not just once, but twice on final from one aircraft. So it's an important thing to note. All right, now I'm going to show you, if we had just with the original plan, this is about how it would play out. The T-38 would pass below the F-16 F-16 is at initial, and the C-12 would have that T-38 in sight. Not worried about the weight turbulence between those two, but it could be a factor. So here's another scenario for you. Okay, so similar. All right, you have a T-38 on final for lakebed runway 12 right for a low approach. Then you have the rest of the scenario. You have the F-35 on the downwind, the F-16 on final, and then you have the T-38 correction the C-12 on final for 2-3 right. So based on this scenario, can we do it? How do we do it? So I'll tell you how I would do it, and then I'm curious what your thoughts are. So go ahead and pause the video. Think about what you're going to say to the aircraft, who you're going to talk to, and how you might do this. Okay, now that you're back, this is what I would say. I would tell a T-38 Cobra 38 on the go, are you able to make a right-hand turnout and enter initial prior to runway 23 right, traffic heavy C-12 on final runway 23 right? I'd tell him that, and if he can't do that, then I'd have to do something with the C-12 or the T-38. Give him a 360, break him out somehow, break out, enter initial. But if he's able to just do that low approach, way out there at the edge of the lake bed, and then on the go, make a right-hand turn prior to initial, it would be beneficial. Also, it would actually work a lot better with lake bed runway 15 because it's a lot longer and encounters the lake bed at a different spot. Then I'm going to go to the C-12 if the T-38 agrees to that, and I'm going to tell the C-12 traffic T-38 on final runway 12 right will be climbing to initial prior to final for runway 23 right. That's how I would play this out. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. Thank you.